Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Sebastian Tremblay and I will be your moderator. Je serai votre modérateur aujourd'hui. Thank you for joining today's media availability to provide an update on O Train Line 1 and bus service. Merci de vous joindre à nous pour cette pointe de presse afin de faire le point sur les changements apportés à la ligne 1 de l'O Train. This media availability is available in either French or English. If you would like audio interpretation, click the interpretation globe icon in the bottom menu, then select your preferred language. You can ask your questions in the language of your choice. Ce point de presse est disponible en français ou en anglais. Si vous souhaitez bénéficier d'une interprétation audio, cliquez sur l'icône du globe d'interprétation dans le menu du bas, puis sélectionnez la langue de votre choix. Vous pouvez poser vos questions dans la langue de votre choix. Today's media availability will include opening remarks from Troy Charter, Interim General Manager of Transit Services Department, followed by remarks from Sabrina Passian, Chief Safety Officer, and Richard Holder, Director of Rail Construction Program. Le point de presse d'aujourd'hui comprendra des remarques préliminaires de Troy Charter, directeur général par intérim des services du transport en commun, suivi par Sabrina Passian, chef de la sécurité, et Richard Holder, directeur du programme de construction du train léger. I'll now pass things over to Troy. Je vais maintenant passer la parole à Troy.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'll get right into it. So with respect to our bus service, we have seen a steady improvement in service since early January, with more buses being consistently available, and that is translating to less undelivered trips. Things are progressing, and as we advance our plans with respect to recruitment, onboarding of new buses, our training of mechanics, and our ongoing continuing maintenance, that coupled with the better weather, we know that we will continue to see improvements in our service for our customers. With respect to Line 1, service continues to run reliably at the 3 to 4 minute frequency levels at peak periods, which is effectively providing sufficient capacity to meet the customer demand. Rail service on both lines have operated reliably, providing consistent service for customers throughout the winter months, which gives us confidence heading into the East Extension. We are making progress on our work with RTG and Alstom to plan and implement the necessary measures that will enable the return of the full fleet and the associated increase in train capacity. This work is complex, but I do want to assure everyone that progress is being made. So those are my initial remarks. I'll now pass things over to Sabrina to provide an update on the work to restore Line 1 capacity, and then to Richard, who will talk a little bit about the substantial completion. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy, and good afternoon, everyone. As Troy mentioned, I will provide a brief update on the work that we've done to safely restore capacity on O Train Line 1, as our teams have been working around the clock to progress our action plan. As we've stated before, this is very complex and technical work that cannot and must not be rushed. The conversations and technical meetings with Rideau Transit Group and their experts are continuing well. We are making positive progress, and we're further refining the containment plan. This work is focused on confirming that the proposed mitigation measures are appropriate to contain the spalling that has been detected on the cartridge bearing assemblies, or CBAs. To ensure that all items have been considered, independent experts like TRA have been and will continue to be engaged throughout the entire process. As work is finalized, updates and timelines for service recovery will be shared with customers, council, and the media. We all know that customers want to see service improvements, and so do we. We want our customers to know that we hear your frustration, and I can assure you that we are getting closer. But it is critical that we carefully work through all the technical aspects and the safety assurance process. We have a duty to protect the safety of our passengers and our staff, and we're doing the necessary work to uphold that duty. We will not compromise or just take someone's word for it. We need to be sure. Merci, et je cède maintenant la parole à Richard.
Thank you. I'd like to give the floor to Richard for a brief update on the East Extension.
Okay, thank you, Sabrina, and good afternoon, everyone. As we shared in yesterday's memo, the East Extension has now achieved substantial completion. This is a significant contractual milestone, but we still have some key steps before we are ready for customers. Substantial completion certifies that the city and the independent certifier have reviewed all the relevant documentation and evidence and confirms that all system infrastructure meets the requirements of the project agreement and can be safely operated and maintained. As with any major construction project, there will be activities that will continue after substantial completion. This means the residents may see some work occurring as we continue to get ready for customers. This work will include necessary updates to the train control system software, adjusting platform edge cameras, landscaping, and final paving on the Highway 174. Rideau Transit Maintenance, or RTM, is now responsible for the maintenance of the East Extension. Their teams are now engaged in a familiarization period so they can have hands-on experience of maintaining the railway infrastructure, such as switch heaters, special track work, overhead catenary, support systems, escalators and elevators, and all other essential system elements. This is a best practice and was also successfully applied during the launch of Lines 2 and 4 and is necessary before trial running can start. During this time, East End customers may see a lot of activity on the new extension. This will include tasks such as snow clearing, cleaning of platforms, and maintenance vehicles traveling along the line supporting work teams. Once the maintenance familiarization period has ended and all other prerequisites achieved, we will progress to the pre-trial and trial running phases. The trial running period is the final exam for transit services, EWC, the builder, and RTM, the maintainer, to validate that the trains and systems are fully functional and reliable, and all stakeholders are ready for passenger service. Before we start trial running, our team will host a technical briefing to provide an overview of how it will work. But as a summary, trial running will exercise all aspects of the system to ensure we are ready for customers and will run for a minimum of 21 days. Before we conclude and turn it over to questions, I want to sincerely thank East End residents and businesses for your patience. For the last several years, while the construction work has taken place on the East Extension, we are fully aware that you have navigated and lived through all the dust and dirt, the noise and vibration, and the traffic and transit disruptions in your communities. With the project now reaching substantial completion in the East, we are almost at the finish line. I also want to sincerely thank my team and all our partners and colleagues across this who contributed to this endeavor. Achieving this major milestone on this key City of Ottawa initiative is a huge accomplishment that reflects many years of planning and construction involving the coordination of technical expertise across our teams, partners, and contractors, and represents a major step forward in delivering an expanded rail network in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I will now invite each agency in alphabetical order to ask one question and one follow-up. J'invite maintenant chaque organisme de presse par ordre alphabétique à poser une question et une question de suivi. We'll now start with, nous allons commencer par Arthur White-Crummy at CBC.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking back several weeks to when we heard that, you were going to be able to replace 2 axles a week. Some of the cars only had a few axles over 100,000 kilometers, and you still had axles in reserve. So I'm just wondering, 3 weeks later, we still haven't seen any more cars get onto the rails. I just want to understand how that's possible. Like, what still accounts for the slow progress in getting more cars on the rails?
Thank you for the question, Arthur. Talked about this a little bit in the past, but one of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is maintaining the kilometers on the vehicles, as well as maintaining the supply of the cartridge bearing assemblies. So we know that they do have a supply, and there's a supply chain that they will receive some on a regular basis, but we really wanted to maintain that. So we shifted our focus to the full return of the full fleet. And that's where our focus is right now, and that's what Sabrina and the entire team are working on, is what are the necessary mitigations and measures and processes that need to be put in place to allow for the return of the full fleet. We need that for our service. We need that for the East Extension, and that's been our shift in focus.
Can you just talk perhaps about what currently seem to be the most promising mitigation measures that are being discussed between OC Transpo and RTG? Like, I know some things were monitoring was one thing that was mentioned earlier, but is there anything else more concrete that you can tell us about what could be put in place to get the full fleet back on the back into service?
Yes, the discussions are ongoing with RTG to make sure all those right processes are in place, and I'll ask Sabrina if she wants to elaborate a little bit on some of that work that's happening with TRA to give us the confidence that the full fleet can return.
Thank you, Troy. And yes, we're exploring multiple different paths at this point. I think we're trying the best we can to work with our experts and meet with RTG and their experts to look at various different mitigations. So we're definitely looking at monitoring programs, absolutely. And we're trying to navigate potentially a few different options to layer in so that we're able to do a risk assessment and then eventually return the full fleet back into service.
Thank you. We will now go to Rachel Morgan at City News Ottawa. Oh, I think we lost Rachel. We'll go to Ted Raymond at CTV.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So my first question, in the past, I know there have been some disagreements between RTG and Alstom over whether the trains or the tracks are contributing to the problems that have come up on the line previously. In your discussions with RTG, and I presume Alstom is there as well, with regards to the spalling issue, is that a contention that is perhaps affecting or delaying like a solution or a root cause analysis?
Thanks for the question, Ted. No, at this point in time, all the parties are aligned, and we know what the issue is with the cartridge bearing assemblies, and it's about what are the right measures that need to be put in place so that the full fleet can return.
Okay, so you're all kind of on the same page, and as to what the issue is and what needs to be done. You're having these conversations. I want to switch to the bus system for a second because you had an update today, some incremental progress. It's a good sign. You mentioned one new zero emission bus. The target is 110 by the end of Q1, which is like 3 weeks from now. So I'm curious if that target isn't met. How will that kind of affect that return to more bus service delivery or better bus service delivery? Because you're pinning a lot on these zero emission buses.
Yeah, the onboarding of the new buses is a critical piece in terms of improving our service. It was a great investment the council made to not only renew our fleet, but as well to become a more greener fleet as well too. But so it's a key piece. But we're confident with all the other actions that we're doing as well at the same time that even if there is a shift in terms of the supply, that our service will continue to improve. We know that when you get out of the winter months, it's easier on a fleet of vehicles. It's easier to maintain those vehicles. So that's a piece to this as well too. We're not relying on the weather, but that is a piece that will factor into that is better weather, easier to maintain the fleet, new buses, and then our ongoing recruitment and training activities to get the mechanics up and trained on the new fleet, the new requirements for an electric bus versus a diesel bus. All those activities combined will improve the service. So confident that we'll continue to see improvements in the service as week in, week out, and it'll continue to improve when we get into the better weather in the spring and summer months.
Thank you. On va maintenant à Sébastien Pierrot à Le Droit.
Sébastien Prérault from the Le Droit newspaper. Hello, everyone. Mr. Charter, the number of vehicles, 21, that hasn't changed since the 13th of February, 3 weeks ago. In fact, you seem pretty optimistic that things are moving forward. Could you think there'll be more vehicles at your next update? Well, next week we'll probably continue with 21 trains, but our priority is a full return to service. But next week we'll be looking at 21 trains again with 15 in service during the busiest periods. Question to really understand yesterday, substantial completion or the certificate for substantial completion was given for the east extension, still 21 trains. You still seem optimistic that the extension, the east extension, will happen very soon. What'll decide whether this will be possible? Is the number of trains? Is it the certificate that was delivered yesterday? What's the key component? It's not clear for me. All right, Sabrina, could you perhaps answer that question? Are you there? Yes, I'm here. Well, we have to have the trains, the vehicles for the next stage. That's clear. I've seen progress this week myself. As you heard Richard say, there's a lot more work that still remains to be done. While that's being done, we're moving the action plan forward, and we hope that in the next few weeks we'll be able to give you an update, to give an update to the Transit Committee on the next steps for the East Extension and also for the action plan. Thank you very much for that answer. Thank you very much.
Natasha Baldwin at the Ottawa Citizen.
Hello, thank you so much. I just wanted to confirm specific number of trains that are needed to start this testing phase in the East Extension. I've seen 46 in a technical briefing. Could we confirm that?
Yeah, based on our trial running plans, the requirement is 46 trains. We are looking at a number of options, but right now our requirement is 46 trains.
Okay, and yeah, to follow up on the testing phase as well. Will that testing phase be on the entirety of line 1 running from Tunney's Pasture all the way to Trim, or will it just be on that east line extension? Like where's the benchmark in terms of what you'll be looking at in this testing phase?
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We're going to be doing a detailed technical briefing when we get to that point where we're about to start trial running, and we'll get into all those details in terms of what that looks like and what customers can expect during that period of time. So a bit early for that still, but we will be providing a very detailed technical briefing when we're about to get into trial runnings, but we'll do that in advance of trial running.
All right, thank you, Natasha. On va maintenant à Frédéric Pépin à Radio-Canada.
Frédéric Pépin, Radio-Canada. Mr. Charter, in a previous meeting, you said that there was a whole network that would be tested under the 21-day trial testing period. It wasn't just Blair to Trim. Well, that's our plan, but our plan can change, as you know. This is what we would like to do.
It's a little bit fluid right now. It's not specifically outlined in the PA how you go about trial running. It does talk about service levels that we want to meet, but we have options in how we want to do that. And obviously, the main thing for us is we want to, provide good service for our customers while the trial running is going on. But that is our plan. But we want to make sure that we're doing all the right things, and we want to minimize impacts to our customers while we're doing that as well too. So we just want to take some time to think about that.
Ma deuxième question, ça serait pour Madame Sabian.
My second question is for Ms. Sabian. I heard you say that you've seen progress. You've also mentioned that you're now focusing on the return to full service. What progress have you seen exactly, and what will it take to restore full service? I want people to understand what you're looking at. Are you talking about sensors, cameras next to the axles, for example? What are you looking at exactly to make sure that full service can be restored? Well, the progress we've seen this week is that we have answers to many technical questions from experts on our side and from RTG as well. Now, to move forward with a plan, we need all that information to do a proper risk analysis. As you said, there are many options we're looking at. A monitoring program, a sensor program, installing sensors on the trains, on the vehicles, on the wheel lathe as well. There are many options we're looking at, many experts, are working and providing advice. We'll take all that information and we'll create a plan, a multi-layered plan, and that'll allow us to do risk analysis for the whole fleet. We think that once we've done that, we'll be able to develop an action plan for the restoration of full service. You've often said that RTG and Alstom are looking at tools to really see in real time the state of the CABs and the axles in real time. Now, these parts, this technology, no matter what you call it, these sensors, do they already exist? Are they available off the rack, or will it take time to access that technology? Answer, well, they already exist across the country and across the world. In fact, it's not that they don't exist, but it has to work with our fleet. It's a very unique fleet, as you know. That's why we're doing technical analysis with our engineers to ensure that the solution and the steps will be effective on our fleet here in Ottawa.
Could I get the answer to Fred's second two questions there also in English, just about the mitigation measures and the sensors?
For sure. So what Fred asked is kind of like, what progress have we seen this week, and kind of what would be needed next, and some technology that RTG could be exploring. So I'll start by saying it's really a layered approach that we're taking right now, and we're working with our experts and RTG's experts to develop all of the information to make this layering so that we can do a risk assessment that will look at it from a global perspective for the entire fleet. And Fred asked if this technology exists, that we could put some sort of sensors, be it on the vehicles or on the side of the track or in the yard. So the answer is yes, that technology absolutely exists in rail operations in Canada and around the world. The work that's being done right now is understanding that integration component for our system. Would it work on our vehicles? Would it work on our track? Would it work in our yard, our facilities? What communications is needed? So it's really an engineering and technical solutions that are being explored, and several in parallel, which is what's contributing to the length of time it's taking to really be sure before we take this next step.
Thank you. We will now go to Shane Seguin at Railfans.
Hi, thank you for taking our questions today. Mr. Charter, I was wondering if you could just share a few words on the significance of achieving substantial completion. How does it make you feel about this critical step and major milestone being achieved, and seeing the East project come one step closer to completion?
Oh, it's amazing. It's a great step forward for public transit in Ottawa, and it's a huge step forward for us in terms of having a long-term, sustainable, reliable transit system. And it's really about improving the system. And I know we talk about it as an extension of Line 1, but it's an extension of the transit system, and it'll bring reliability impacts throughout. So tremendously proud moment for the entire team. I know Richard's team has been working tirelessly on the construction side and with our partners. So we're excited. And I know our customers are. So we want to get going with trial running as soon as we can, so that we can start that service. And so it's a proud moment for the team, and we're excited about it. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. And my second question is for Mr. Holder. Understanding that trial running is likely still a month away and the technical briefing is to come, over the immediate future as part of the pre-trial running, what can residents expect to see along the East Guideway as far as trains circulating prior to the start of the original or the trial running and other activities?
Yeah, thank you, Shane, for the question. So as I talked about earlier on, there will be some maintenance activities that residents will see as they're driving alongside on the Highway 174. They'll see more maintenance of way vehicles. So these high rail vehicles that can run on the road but can also run on the track. They'll be out on the line and moving crews throughout the line so that inspections can be undertaken, but more, preventative maintenance activities can be practiced on the line. So we have this period of RTM familiarization, and that's going to take place over the next week. And then once we get through that, then we want to be running trains on a daily basis. And so certainly during the middle of the day, we will start moving, initially we'll have singles, but then we will be increasing the number of trains as trains become available, so that we'll have a single, then we'll have a multiple unit, and then multiple units. As we build up the confidence and as we have more trains, so that we can be ready for coming to our next kind of media briefing to talk about the details of trial running. So we're very excited to get to that stage where we can explain how trial running will be undertaken.
Thank you so much. This concludes our media availability. Ceci conclut le point de presse aujourd'hui. Thank you. Merci tout le monde.
Complete.